Our next guest is an actor with television, film, and stage credits, including several stage credits right here in Harrisburg. He will star in the open stage of Harrisburg's play, Father Comes Home from the Wars, which runs almost the whole month of February. Leonard Dozier is here, and he's going to chat with us all about that. You've got a good career. I mean, tell us, first of all, what you've been doing.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
For me, it's almost like, what haven't I been doing?
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
obviously here now starring in Father Comes Home from the Wars at Open Stage, and I do a number of things from TV acting to film acting to stage acting and voice acting.
Yeah, tell me about that, because a lot of people don't understand what voice acting really is.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it for 20 years, so I narrate for NFL films, I narrate for PHMG, I narrate for JARS, I narrate for Boomtown Casino. I'm their official voice. Won an Addy Award in 2012 for my work with them, and I teach all across the country, teaching voice actors and how to develop the craft and really to gain traction in the business.
You're born in Summers Point.
Right.
You're raised in Pleasantville.
Right. That
means you're a South Jersey, Jersey Shore guy.
Correct.
There's a football team not far from here. You may have heard of them. The Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. You know, of course you did, because how great was it for you to do the recap of the Super Bowl for NFL Films for the Eagles?
Mark, unbelievable, unbelievable. I mean, of course, I got the call a few days before the Super Bowl, so I knew I was going to narrate it one way or the other. But I'm watching the Super Bowl, as 3/4 of America is, and I'm going, my goodness, Brandon Graham sacks Tom Brady, forces the fumble, and I go, they're going to win this thing. And I'm going to be narrating the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl win, and I'll never forget it, because it just, even narrating it, it was just, I think of all the voiceover work I've done in my career, there was nothing that to this day got my blood boiling during the process. I mean, it's just, whoa, the adrenaline just pumping and climbing and pumping and climbing, and then to see, right, this million. What was it? 1 million, 2 million people that participated in the parade, and to see that caravan coming into Philadelphia, because I was
Kelsey was the star.
Exactly, and in fact, I was actually headed to Seattle during the parade, but I remember in going to the airport just seeing this sort of cavalcade of people coming in, and I said, "This is unbelievable for the area."
Now, you're an actor, but you're also a singer, and what I'd like to do now is give our listeners a little taste of your silky, smooth pipes. Check this out. This is Leonard Dozier.
Okay, the world ended today. How many of us can say we are truly ready to go? We're not ready for heaven or hell, if you ask me. We live on earth like this is all we know. People, we can be better. Let's get ourselves together. Yes, we can do better. You know it, are we ready?
When I have a singer on, what I don't want to do, what I do is say, you sound like, because everybody wants to sound themselves, but I do ask everybody, who are your influences? And when I heard this track for the first time, I had to say to myself, are you freaking kidding me? Is this Luther? I mean, I hate to do that to you, but
it's quite a compliment, actually. It's quite a compliment. Luther was my chief influence growing up. I mean, and it's interesting, Mark, because I think far before I actually even thought about a career in music, and I would just kind of sing. You know, my mother sang gospel a little bit, and so I kind of started writing songs for her. That's kind of how I got my foray into music. But I remember singing early on, and just there was this tone that I had that it just kind of matched Luther's naturally. So it wasn't like this very concentrated effort to sound like it was just there. You know, it's kind of parallels, I think, to some extent, you know, the work I do as Dr. King in some ways, where it's just, you know, sometimes it's just in you. You know, it's not even something you have to concentrate on, really, you know, spending any effort.
You were gifted from a higher power, because this track, and I've listened to other tracks too that are equally as good, but this one.
How did you get that particular spot?
Yeah, Legends of Oz, interestingly enough, they only had one slot,
Okay.
right? So I had to audition against a couple of thousand people.
Okay.
This is across the country, across the world for that matter.
Right.
And Ray, I must have auditioned maybe, I want to say around this time in 2011.
Okay.
And about 6 months later, I get a call from the PR company in Hollywood.
Okay.
And you know and it's so funny. This is hilarious, right? So they call me up and they're like, "Congratulations," and I'm like, "Okay," I'm waiting for for the news. And they said, "Well, you've been cast in such and such," and at the time the movie was had a different title.
Right.
So I'm like, "Such and such what?" I mean, so I think I might have come across like a little bit of a jerk because
You go to somebody clown.
yeah, I'm like, I don't know what this is. It's 6 months later, but. But to make a long story short, 6 months later, got the call, man, was added to the cast.
Congratulations, you.
Throughout life, but there's a gentleman by the name of Andrew Manzano, who, if it weren't for him,
Right.
I wouldn't be the voice actor
Wow.
that I am today. I wouldn't be the teacher and the mentor.
Yeah.
I worked with Andrew as a musician in
Yeah.
studio, and one day he heard, I was probably 19 years old.
Really?
And great story. He said, Leonard, with that voice, man, you should
Yeah.
think about doing voiceover work.
Wow.
And in my 19-year-old,
Yes.
on my 19-year-old
Yeah.
high horse,
Yep.
I said to him, what are you talking about, man? I'm a singer. I'm an actor. I mean, what do you mean voiceover work? I mean,
Right.
what is
What is that? What is that? Because again, to navigate that space, it's
Right.
not a household scenario.
Absolutely, but he said, okay, here, I
Yeah.
got something for you. So
Yeah.
he had this artist he was working with who needed a promo done.
Yeah.
And he said, listen,
Yeah.
if you'll do this guy's promo,
Yeah.
I'll give you free studio time for your music project.
Oh my gosh,
So,
I love it.
sure, I'll
Yeah.
sign up for that.
Right.
But literally about 3 weeks later,
Wow.
got my first job with him.
Really?
Yeah, and so I said, well, maybe there's something to this
Yeah.
voiceover thing,
Yeah.
right?
Our champion Philadelphia Eagles. Can we put your voice to the test? Yeah. We want you to voice over a couple of videos that we talked about.
Let's see what I can figure out here.
Okay, well, this one is okay, this is a truck. It's about to get hit by a train. What do you say?
In a world where trucks get hit by trains, damage is serious.
Oh yeah. Man, I wish I had you when I was single, man. I'm like, girl, filled things. Okay, we have.
Hi, I'm Leonard Dozier. I'm playing Troy Maxson in Fences at Open Stage in Harrisburg. Fences is actually widely thought to be the most universal of Wilson's plays. And I think audiences will see various themes that are relatable. One theme that comes to mind, or at least one play that comes to mind that I think is very comparable in some ways to Fences is Death of a Salesman, which is certainly an American classic. And I think the character of Willie Loman is somewhat, there's some parallels between Troy Maxson and Willie Loman in many ways. So I think there's that umbrella that audiences can actually sort of view the play under.
Yes! Woo! Hey, ladies, I have him right here, sitting right next to me. Oh my! You rocked it! Rocked
Thank you.
it! Rocked it! Wow, we are all standing here so quiet. Just oh my.